I got to try to hunt. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you and I can see the top of your head.
The top of my head. Let's see. Now, how was that?
There we go.
I think the
Perfect.
top looks better than the face.
Well, you got more hair than I do,
Hey,
so
that's pretty good. So, how are
uh,
you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It's a Friday. I don't have much to
Yeah,
do at work, so I figured this was a perfect way to spend my afternoon.
that's right. Timing was great. It's nice here today, mild. We're starting to get rid of some of our snow.
Yeah, so are you starting to get some spring temperatures coming in?
Well, it's like +8 today, so
+8.
that's a warm day for us.
Is that's Fahrenheit, right?
Well,
Or
no,
Celsius? That's Celsius?
8 degrees. The best way to do it is heat and 8 is 16, head 32, and you get 48 Celsius.
Ah, okay.
So it could be 46 or it could be 49, 50, but that's the most accurate way that we do it. Mm.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in Fahrenheit only around here, so.
I know. So where are you two? You're in Virginia?
Yes, Charlottesville, Virginia is where I live and work. I've been here since 1993. I grew up in the
Right,
Northern Virginia area.
right.
My grandmother worked at the Pentagon. Uh,
Okay.
Yep. So I know that area quite well. My dad
Right.
was, he's a house painter and was working in that area in Maryland, just north of DC,
Right.
on 9/11. So
Yeah,
he was the one I was frantically trying to call that day to make sure
sure.
everything was okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I did a tour of the Pentagon.
did you now? Did you
when
get to
the
see
when
the
the
spot?
when Come From Away opened in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
I was there and we did a tour of the Pentagon and I went in to the little museum where the plane went in and hit and all that stuff there. It was certainly eye opening. There's no question.
I'll bet. The last time I was in the Pentagon, I was probably about 7 years old when I went to see my grandmother before she
Okay.
retired.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
eh, I got to
it's
go
quite the
have
spot
lunch.
there.
No doubt. It's I got to have lunch in the little atria or the little courtyard in the middle of the
Right.
Pentagon
Hmm.
and
So that's good. Yeah.
experience the maze of hallways and stuff in there. Oof.
Right. Yeah. So you're getting ready to do the Come From Away production.
Yes, we are. So when I first saw Come From Away, it was when they released it on Apple TV during the
Right.
pandemic,
Hmm.
and immediately fell in love with the show. We
Hmm.
saw it when it came touring through Richmond, Virginia, and so
Right.
I've seen it once live and once on well, many times on TV. Uh,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I said right from the first time I watched it, if I ever get the opportunity to audition for this show anywhere near where I live, I'm
Right.
definitely going to do it. And I want to play Claude Elliott, the mayor.
Right. Yeah.
And this was the first local community theater to get the rights to the show
Right.
in locally here, and they're about an hour from my house. So I drove
Okay.
over and auditioned and got the role
Mhm.
that same day. Uh,
Good.
and so we've been in
Yeah.
rehearsals for about 2 weeks now.
Right. Yeah. I just got back from Detroit. I was in Detroit for the opening of Come From Away. There in Detroit, it was quite the show. The show was sold out every night for 12, 14 nights. Now I was there we were in there in Detroit for 10 days, but I
Okay,
saw the show twice.
twice.
So that was my 135th time seeing the show.
That was one of my questions. I have seen several interviews with you, and the last one I saw it said you
Yeah,
had seen it 130 times. So you can add
yeah, it's
five to that.
135 now.
Wow.
Uh, I always get asked the question, how come you don't play yourself? And I said, I just want to remind you, it's a musical. And if you heard me sing, you know why I'm not playing it.
Yeah, it's a little different. The acting is a very different skill set than mayoring.
Yes, that's much different. Actually, being a mayor is easier than singing for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't know the first thing about running a city of any
No.
size. So
Yeah, well, it was interesting when I went to Spain when it played in Spain. It was done in Spanish.
wow.
That's the only time I've heard it not English,
And
and it was
were
interesting.
did the audiences in Spain react in all the same ways that the audiences that hear it in English react?
Uh, the first show, the first night, it was a little bit different because they were using some of the things like, I got to go to Shoppers. I got to go to Shoppers. Very few people knew what Shoppers was.
Yeah,
They had no idea. So there was no reaction to it. So then they changed that to a drugstore in Spain that they would understand.
got it.
Uh, but other than that, as the show went on, the applause got louder, and at the end, it was a standing ovation, the same as it was anywhere else in the world. You
Oh,
know,
that's awesome.
yeah, they got, and a lot of people outside the U.S. they don't use Tom Brokaw; they use Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, I noticed that because I've seen multiple copies of the script. I downloaded it online, and it
Right?
was probably the original Broadway script, and it was
Yeah.
Tom Brokaw, and we got our script, and it says Oprah Winfrey. Uh,
Yes. Outside the United States, Oprah Winfrey is more recognizable than Tom Brokaw.
Certainly to younger generations.
Yes, to younger generations. Yeah.
Did Oprah Winfrey come to Gander and do some stuff as
No,
well?
she's never been to Gander. No, not to. If she has, she's only been at the airport because a lot of the people like that go through the airport. Tom Cruise has been here several times. Tiger Woods have passed through here refueling and that stuff. So, but most of the time they're just at the airport. You don't even know they're here. They
Yeah,
come in and refuel and they walk around. And it's very few places they can get off a plane and walk around and not be recognized.
right, right.
So you can understand that. But no, she's never been here. But I'm
Yeah,
sure that
I
she,
was curious if that was simply a change to make it so that people immediately understood the gravity
yeah,
of
and
the
that was
situation.
exactly what it was. It was just made to change so people would understand what it was, as same as the drugstore.
Yeah.
Uh, Shopper Drug Mart is very common in Canada. I guess it's almost like the famous drugstore in the United States. There's
Like CVS or Walgreens.
CVS. Yeah, you're right. And my daughter lives in Hawaii, and we go there and we see that drugstore everywhere,
Yeah.
just like you would come to Canada and see Shoppers Drug Mart. Yeah.
Funny, they didn't change Shoppers for our script. Like it still
No,
says Shoppers because I
you
think
do.
anybody in America would at least understand what that is just
I
from the
think they do by a
context.
reaction. They know what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, well, we're living in a technology world today where a lot of people do research on everything and they know before they go and see the show, they know, then they talk to their friends and they know before they come what it is and that. So it's a little bit different than trying to show it in Europe or over in another part of the
Yeah.
world, right? You know,
I knew nothing of this story before I saw Come From Away on Apple TV. It looked
right.
like it was the first musical back from the pandemic, and
Yes,
we go to New York to see musicals regularly, so
right.
we weren't for that time, and so this was our closest thing we could get to it, and we didn't care what the show was going to be. We would have watched it,
Yeah,
and
that's
then we
right.
were just blown away by this amazing musical and this story. And so I've done plenty of research since. I've read the book the day
Right.
the world came to
The world
town.
came to town.
Yep.
Yeah.
Watched several videos and documentaries on YouTube, and I think I still have some questions for you that
Sure.
I don't know. I certainly didn't find examples of you answering some of these questions that I have for you. Uh,
Oh, well, there's a lot of things happen that's not in the story.
Certainly, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
I want to start with uh, probably the most important one to me because I think it might directly affect what I say and how well, not what I say, but how I say
Right.
it on stage. And the scene in which you're arguing with Garth about the bus driver strike,
Right.
uh, it seems like you were frustrated that the bus drivers weren't doing what they should be doing right away. And in the book and the documentaries I've seen, there's no discussion of any kind of hesitation on the bus driver's parts to cross the picket line and do what was needed. But that scene, the way it's written, indicates that there was. And I'm just curious, how frustrating was that? And were there other examples of people not necessarily understanding what they needed to do right away?
The musical shows the frustration, but there was no frustration.
There was none.
No, the book is right. The minute we asked, we met with the union and met with the school board and said, here's the dilemma. And immediately the bus drivers decided to put down their picket signs, take their buses and volunteer. But I guess when you're doing a show, you want to have a little bit of drama to it.
Sure.
And that you're frustrated and all that. But I can reassure you that the book was right and that there was no frustration on our part or any on their part either.
So at no point did you have to get nasty
No,
with people and say,
no
"God,
way. No, 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 no.
you're not treating
No,
this like an effing emergency."
no, that's right. Yeah.
uh, Good. Well, that answers a big part of that. So I'm not going to play that as like I was thinking, how frustrated should I be in this scene? And I think I'm going to be a little less frustrated than I might have initially thought I was going to be.
I just think that the audiences that I've seen has sort of got a chuckle out of it.
Oh
They'll
yeah.
get a chuckle out of it, but it is not as dramatic as what it's shown in the play.
Um, let's see. Are there people in Gander that are annoyed that their story didn't get told in this?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure there is because David and Irene they interviewed hundreds of people, and there was thousands of stories that's never been told.
Yeah.
And I think that you could probably do three come from a ways and never tell the same story twice. But so yeah, people were frustrated. But you got to realize that it just wasn't about Gander. They didn't want to tell everything about Gander. If you look at, how they talked about the hairline pilot, how they talked about the couple that fell in love, I mean, how the gay couple was treated and all that. So it captured a little bit of everything, not just what happened in Gander. What we learned from the play is when I saw the play for the first time, I realized that I didn't know what was happening aboard the planes, and the people aboard the planes didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And that's what we learned. So yeah, I mean, there was frustrations, and we tell people, look, it was almost like a lottery. Our stories got picked. We weren't the only ones interviewed. Hundreds of people were interviewed by David and Irene, and this is the stories that they picked. And I think they did a real good job in putting that story together. Now, during the anniversary this year, and every year that they have a night where they're going to have at the airport, they're going to have about 700 people invited up there, and they're going to have people telling untold stories.
Oh,
That's where
nice.
people get to tell their story. It won't be us. None of us is invited in that because our story is being told in a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do have that. And every night, we come from away, and I was opening here June the 28th. And for about 3 minutes, every show they bring in somebody to give a little brief overview of what they did during 9/11.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So people get to know what this guy did in his church, that what this person did in their organization. That so they hear different stories. Ours is told on stage.
And the story doesn't even have to be something incredible that they did. It can be something almost mundane that, in retrospect, really meant a lot to somebody.
Well, from my point of view, everywhere I've went and everything I've been asked what I've done, I've always said that the lady that stayed home and made sandwiches all day, that job was just as important as the one that I did.
Yeah.
And I think we always talk about the people that never got in. We talked about what they did, how they would work, 8 to 4. Then they would go to their church from 5 to 12 and volunteer, and go to bed, then go to work, go to their church and volunteer. So preparing all those meals and taking people into your homes and looking after them, that was just as important as what I did. And so we make sure that people understand it's just not our stories that there was work done.
Speaking of what you did, it's pretty clear what you were doing leading up to the plane people getting off the planes and making
Right.
preparations, and then of course dealing with them all coming off and the next morning. But then they were there for several days, and I'm not necessarily clear on how did you spend your time once everybody was in town and it was a big old waiting game for the airspace to be reopened, and like what kinds of things were you doing during that part of the experience?
Well, most of the time that I would be in the emergency center because I had to, if there was I had to call council together. I could had the power to declare a state of emergency, but it had to be put in a resolution. I had to call council together and do that. And also, we were, I guess, trying to make sure that when we would get a call saying somebody left their medication aboard the plane and they need to see a doctor, we made sure that there was a doctor at the hospital to see them. So you were always doing little things. And I would visit each place twice a day and see people and talk to people and ask them if there was anything that they would need or anything we could do for them, anything that they weren't getting and look at. And we also had to make sure that the cruise net was looked after. So
Yeah.
I was, there was no one particular job. I think all of us that was involved was doing a multitude of little jobs to make sure that everybody was there. And also, you got to realize that we were under the direction of the United States. I mean, they were going to tell us when the planes could go out. They were going to tell us, Uh, anyway, we did get a call telling not to let nobody into our private homes because they didn't know how widespread this terrorist attack was. But that was too late because people in Gander are not like that. They by that time there was probably 800 or 900 people staying with people in their homes. That's
Yeah.
just the way we are. So you weren't settled, standing around just twiddling your thumbs all day. There was something to do, and I was doing hundreds of interviews with media all over the world. You got to realize the airspace was closed and nobody could get in here,
Yeah.
so they had to call. And I remember one day doing an interview with Wolf Blitzer. I
And it
did
was
interviews with magazines and radio stations all around the world, over Europe, everywhere. So my day was pretty hectic, mostly doing interviews, and in between I would. But most of the interviews for me was after midnight because when we're sleeping, the rest of the
yeah,
world is getting
morning
up.
morning in
So I
Europe.
didn't go home at all, other than get a shower and come on back again. So that's what it was. So yeah, there was plenty to do in those 5 days.
So to say you got no sleep is not an exaggeration.
It's not an exaggeration, no. And then when it was all over, it was probably 3 days before I got back on track because you were overtired.
Yeah.
You drop off to sleep, and all of a sudden it was like somebody was singing out to you, and you jump out of bed. Oh, they're gone. I haven't got nothing to do. So the whole community was pretty tired by then. But yeah, I never got no sleep for 5 days. I just come home, get a shower, and that's it. And we had the mayor of Frankfurt, Germany, staying here.
Mm-hmm.
So she would come in my office every morning, 4 a.m., and call her office. 4 a.m. in Gander is breakfast time in Germany.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, so there was a lot of things to do. Even the passengers, not a lot of them was sleeping properly. They'd be walking around town all night, and we had to make sure that, that and a lot of the police were at the airport guarding the planes and everything. So we had to make sure that everybody was looked after, and they certainly were. I mean, there was no incidents, anything, but there was
I that part of the book struck me that during this entire time, not
yeah,
one arrest was made. Is that
nothing,
there?
no,
Nobody
no,
gave anybody any trouble. There
no,
wasn't any disorderly conduct,
nothing,
arguments that
nothing.
escalated,
No.
nothing like that, huh?
It's hard to believe, but we had people there from 95 countries,
Yeah,
but the majority of the people we had were U.S. citizens.
right.
And we had people there that didn't know about Canada. They never knew that there was a country called Canada. So they certainly didn't know much about Gander.
Oh, oh my goodness.
you know, but most everybody in the United States knows about Gander,
We do
especially in the
now.
military. Uh, I told them in Detroit, if you want to know when there's a conflict in the Middle East, call us. I noticed today 4 American flights coming in here today, military planes landing, going across. They got to stay land here to refuel.
Yeah.
So we know when there's a conflict somewhere in
Oh
the Middle
boy.
East. We'll know it probably before you know it,
Oh, yeah.
because they're days moving troops and everything through here, right?
That's
So yeah.
yeah.
But like you said, there was a lot of people didn't. But I think why it works so well is that nobody asked for anything special. Everybody accepted what we gave them. They accepted the cot, they accepted the food, and if people had special needs, we made sure that they were taken care of. And we had volunteers just going around saying, "Is there anything that you need that we have not got?" And then we would take care. We had people that needed to pray 3 or 4 times a day, so we provided a church for them to go and pray, and they were taken by volunteers there. And so it was not 5 days where you sat around and just twiddled your thumbs. There was something for everybody, and your title didn't mean anything. I mean, I would take a tray of sandwiches and drop off to a school. Just not because I was the mayor. I didn't have to do that, but we did. We'd all chip in and help out wherever we could.
I liked the part of the book where it seemed like you had picked somebody up and given them a tour of the town. I would imagine you probably did that more than once.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we would take them around and show them, go around, try to make their day, a little bit more pleasant, and make sure that they didn't have to stay in a school gymnasium, lying on a cot all day. We would take them out, take them on Gander Lake, and take them out, out around, drive out by the ocean and see if we could see a iceberg or a whale or something, just to take their minds off of everything. You have to realize that the U.S. citizens were very scared. Their country was under attack,
Yeah.
and they had loved ones home, and not being able to reach them, it was very trying. And so they needed us more than, say, someone from India who was here. They never had the same effect as what the U.S. people had, because they had family members, they had children in the military, they had people in New York, they had people in the Pentagon, they had people on those planes, and they were worrying trying to get all to a family. So it was very nerve wracking for them. So we had to try to take their minds off of it. And, we had a few parties on the go and had music and everything, and try to help them through a difficult time.
And you guys, it's kind of obvious what needs to happen to meet these folks' physical needs, right? A place to sleep, a place, food to eat, and telephones, etc. Uh, but you guys didn't stop there. You went and really, it was almost like you were looking for opportunities to ease their minds and address the mental stresses that were going on. Like that's some next level compassion right there. And I think that's probably a big part of why your story resonates and needs to be told, is because you didn't do just what you needed to do. You kind of went above and beyond
But
in many
we did,
ways.
yes. Well, see, the way that we are here, and I tell people I'm in a coffee group with 8 or 10 people. We all go to different churches. We all have different political beliefs. We all do that, but we're all one big family. And we come together. We don't care who you vote for. We don't care what church you go to. That's your choice. But uh, if I disagree with every belief you have, I'll bring you in my home and I'll treat you like my son. I will give you a place to lie down. I will give you food. I will give you clothes. I will give you what I got, because that's your right to support and believe in what you believe in. And we need to get away from that and look at the person. It's a human being, regardless of who he or she votes or what they do. We don't bother that. So we just take people into our homes. We look after them and say, "Oh, my dear, you do the same for me," and
Yeah.
that's just the lifestyle we live here. And we don't look at anybody for anything, no matter who you are, no matter if you're black, white, green, or yellow, you'll be treated the same. You're a human being, and you'll be treated with respect, and you'll be given all the love that you can get.
You mentioned your coffee group, and in the show they make a point of saying you don't drink coffee.
That's
It,
right.
have you? Is the reason you don't drink coffee because it tastes horrible, or
I
it's a
yes, it
health
do
thing?
taste horrible. I've tried it, and
We,
it's brutal.
you and I share this hatred of coffee. My dad drinks several pots of coffee a day.
My
I
wife's
can't.
same way.
I
Yeah.
can't, I just cannot stand the taste of it. And
No,
in the show, your drink of choice is Pepsi. Mine would have been
I have
Mountain
Pepsi.
Dew
I
or
drink. Right.
Coke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was always able to get my caffeine a different way.
But yeah, it's funny because like in when we were in Detroit, traveling anywhere in the United States, you go in a restaurant, it's hard to get a Pepsi. It's usually Coke.
Yeah.
Now in Newfoundland, it's the opposite. It's hard to get
Pe-
a Coke.
Pepsi's cornered the market in Newfoundland, huh?
Pepsi is the it got the market here. There's no question about it. So I have a diet Pepsi every day. That's my drink. Yeah.
What kind of shoes do you wear? And what kind of shoes would you have been wearing at that time? Something
Well, at
comfortable
that time,
or something stylish or dressy?
no, comfortable. I would only be stylish if I was going to represent something at a function or something. But most every day with just a pair of casual pants, a golf shirt on, and a pair of sneakers that you would
Sneakers.
dress. But if I had meetings or meeting people, then it would be, most a lot of days shirt and tie and dress shoes. But that morning it was casual.
Excellent. I'll make sure our wardrobe people know that I will be wearing sneakers,
That's,
and
that's
my
right.
feet will be
Yeah,
comfortable
you
throughout the
can
run
wear
of this show.
casual, and you would represent me very well.
Excellent. Glad to hear
Yeah.
that. Um, what do you do for fun? Like, what are your hobbies when you're, I mean, now that you're retired, I would imagine you have more time to pursue them, but what kind of things are you into doing?
Golf. I play golf. I play about anywhere from 65 to 80 rounds a year in our
Okay.
golf course. And we usually, well, because of the weather here, we usually don't get open until about May 2-4 weekend or early part of June. And then we're usually finished in the first week in October. So you get in 65. I think last year I had 68 rounds of golf in. I
Nice.
do fishing. Uh, I was heavy into collecting hockey cards, but
Okay.
I had so much stuff that I gave it all to my son so he can look after it now. But yeah, just go to coffee, play golf, do a bit of traveling, and just enjoy life now. And I've
Fantastic.
done a lot of traveling with Come From Away, a lot,
Have you
as you
have you had
know.
the opportunity to see any smaller community theater level productions of Come From Away yet?
Uh, well in Detroit where we played, where the theater was there, it was the Middlebrook Theater, and they only seat 540, somewhere around there. So that was the least amount that I've seen, and that's almost equivalent to the theater here in Gander. We got a little over 400. So
Yeah.
but normally wherever you go, it's usually big theaters. Like in New York was something like 1,200, and there.
Oh yeah.
But in New Zealand, when I was in New Zealand, that the theater there was about 800, and that. But uh, I have not seen a bad production yet.
I was gonna ask that.
I have not seen a bad production. Uh, the production that we saw in Detroit was equivalent to anyone. Now, I'll be honest with you, you can't compare to Broadway. And it's not necessarily the production. It's just everything that's happening. Broadway is the mega, the production is just, but I mean, it's the glamour, the lights, the media is like, you're caught in this bubble and you're
Yeah.
not used to it. Everybody is putting a microphone in you, this and that. But every production I've seen a production in New Zealand where it was done by local people who was teachers, nurses, and they just did theater for fun. And they did the Come From Away, and it was the good as any production I've seen. I've seen it in New Brunswick, at smaller places, all done by not professional actors, right?
Hmm.
So nobody has anything to be ashamed of. The production is done. I don't know. Another question I get asked: Do Do the people playing you get your language, your dialect? That's not important. I say what's important is the story. The story is what's important. That we got to show the world that we can live in a world with a lot of differences, but still love everybody. And that's what we need to get out. How it's told is irrelevant. I didn't expect the guy in Spain to talk like me any more than I was going to talk like him, you know. And and it was funny when I was in New York, the guy that played me, Joel Atch,
Yeah.
we were interviewed on one of the television channels there, and they asked him what it was like playing somebody who's sitting in the audience watching you. And I was surprised at his answer because he said, it's the first time in my 30-year career that I actually played a living character. He said it's either been someone who has been deceased or fictional. I
Yeah.
found that a bit strange, but that was the first time. And I know, one place when we played, the guy that was playing me didn't want to meet me till after he did the show. He didn't
Really?
want to meet me before he went on stage. He figured and he didn't know what night I was going to be there because he was going to be probably nervous.
Yeah.
And I said, you don't need to be nervous. Get up and play. Do your play. You're the actor. You're the expert. You'll do it. Don't worry about me. I'm just sitting there watching it.
God, I'm always amazed at how different actors prepare
Oh
so
yeah,
differently for their
yeah,
roles. I want to know as much as possible.
sure.
The our actor that's playing Oz Fudge emailed us all and said, "Hey, I just reached out and Fudge got back to me. The real
Yeah,
Oz
yeah,
Fudge." And I'm like, "Wait, that's a brilliant idea. It didn't even occur to me." So that's when
yeah.
I emailed into info@gander.ca, and I
Right.
mean,
You get Brian Williams.
24 hours later, Brian has connected
Yeah,
you with me, and
yeah. That's right. Yeah,
uh, so to have access to you is just fantastic. The fact that you're willing to do this and that you're so into it is wonderful.
yeah.
I had a whole long question about your interaction with Joel Hatch and your advice, which I had seen you give in multiple different interviews, was to tell the story, not to try to do the impression, which is what you just told me. And
That's right.
I'm honored to have been told the same thing. Uh,
That's right. And you got to do it your way.
it couldn't I couldn't help but wonder, and you might have already alluded to this, but I wouldn't want you to name any names or anything like that. But can you tell me what you have liked that you have seen, and maybe even some of what you didn't like about how somebody might have portrayed you? Did people get it more right and more wrong, and if so, how so?
Well, I not really. I think that most of the people that portrayed in the stories that it's been pretty accurate. Uh, but a lot of cases that I've seen is the girl that has played Janice Mosher, the reporter, and when she met Tom Brokaw, I find that they went overboard a lot on that one. It's like, oh, I met Tom Brokaw, but it wasn't like they go. But now the one in Detroit was not like that. But most of them have been. But
Yeah,
even talking to everybody, all the people that's been involved, talking to Beverly Bass and Nick and Diane and everybody, we've all said, nobody have really played us that haven't portrayed what we really are. Is what we are, and nobody have done that. So we've been, very pleased. Like I said, we haven't seen a bad production. There's nothing I can complain about. Like I said, occasionally depends on the overreacting depends on the individual that's playing.
sure.
And some people like to. When she comes, we were. I don't know. I think it was. I know in New Zealand, the poor girl there. She almost went off the stage, but the people loved it. You know what I'm saying? But she would, Tom Brokaw, coffee, Tom Brokaw,
Yeah.
But Janice didn't do that. You had no Janice. Janice was not that type of individual, right? But other than that, there's the little things, but there's nothing worth changing.
I think I did see Janice. I think she was in the Rogers TV
Yes, she
documentary.
was. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
She was the paper reporter.
Right. And it was legitimately her first day
Yes, it was her first day on
as
job
the paper reporter.
at the paper girl. Yeah, and Brian Moser, he was the volunteer with Rogers, so they combined the two of them
Yeah.
in one.
An
And
amalgamation, as they
yeah,
say.
and called it Janice Moser because you couldn't put everybody in the play. You want 25
Right.
people on stage, so
Yeah.
you got to play multiple characters. And I guess you play Derm too, the mayor of
Yep.
Appleton.
Yep.
And
So I'm you. I'm Derm. I'm a Texan on the
right,
airplane,
yeah, yeah,
and
I
I'm
know.
Eddie, the Jewish
Yes,
Newfoundlander.
yeah,
Uh, yeah,
yeah.
and I think
And where Buddy says that he says to Derm, "I drank all your whiskey."
yeah.
Derm said, "I would have done the same."
Uh-huh.
That is absolutely true.
That's a
He
quote.
would have done the same. Derm
He
would have
would have
done the
done
same.
the same.
So that's not fake.
Are you and Derm buddies? Do you play golf together?
No, Derm, yeah, we're friends. I mean, we've known each other for years and that, but we don't. I think we did play a couple of rounds, but Derm don't play golf now. I mean,
Ah,
he's I mean, we're all getting up in age and
sure.
Derm don't play very much now. But I don't know whoever's playing Diane.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the turbulence? And he went
Yes.
to kiss her on the cheek. That's not
Uh-huh.
true. There was
No?
no turbulence.
Ah,
But they got it in the show.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with Diane, but unfortunately, now her and Nick are not well. I mean, they got a lot of health issues,
Ah,
and I don't think they'll be very unlikely to be able to travel anywhere now, other than
oh.
their living use, and they wouldn't be able to much travel. But now, I just read on the news, saw on the news here that "Come From Away" is going to be playing at the Twin Tower on September 13th in
Oh,
concert style.
oh, so like at the memorial?
Yeah, it's not
Wow.
going to be in the theater. It's going to be at the memorial. Mm, yeah,
I hadn't heard about that. I'm gonna have to look into
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was just released there, a few days ago, mm.
Well, I know
And
what
it's
I'll
going
be
to be done
doing.
for the anniversary.
I know what I'll be researching after we're done talking.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That's where
I,
it's going to be done.
I have one last question that I had
Sure.
prepared, and I am curious, did you actually run any of the screeching in ceremonies yourself as it's portrayed? Or is that another sort of amalgamation situation?
That's another amalgamation. I never done no street chains. No, they had parties at the Legion. I might have dropped by the Legion in the night, just to see the people. That I would not take part in street chains. No, I had no part in them. No,
Gotcha. But you've seen them happen, I presume.
well, and I've done them. I
You
mean,
you
I've done
have
them.
done them. Yeah.
Oh, I've done a lot of street chains. Yeah, but I know when we went to New York, I think we screeched in 85 people one night. But traditionally, you're not an official Newfoundlander unless you get screeched in on Newfoundland soil.
Ah, yes.
Now, we did it there and we took the codfish with us, we took the screech, we took everything with it. But because we knew most of them people would probably never be to Newfoundland. But if you ever come to Newfoundland, that certificate is out the door. You got to get screeched in on Newfoundland soil to be officially honorary Newfoundlander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it for real if you can, right?
That's right. Yeah. And it's nothing going to hurt you. No.
No,
We do a lot of them in summer here. Almost every night after the show, there's people there's people go down to the Legion get street seen. This year, every hotel right now in room in Gander is booked solid for the whole summer.
the whole I was just wondering how feasible is it for me to think that we could just come up there to visit and see the place?
If you're looking for a hotel room, you won't get one. You won't get one.
Wow.
Because everything is booked up, and because a lot of a lot of people are coming up from the U.S. this summer. A lot of the passengers are coming back. Uh, I
This
know
year
for
that makes sense because of 25 years. Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
and I
yes.
know on the anniversary date we got the big incommunicado service at the community center, and the U.S. ambassador is going to be here to Canada.
Yeah.
and that's all. So there is places around Gander like Lewisport is only a 40-minute drive. Grand Falls is about almost not quite an hour. You might get somewhere to stay, but in Gander here, you're not going to get nothing. Everything is block solid right up till after the September 11th for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. And not only that, every year there's about 60 bus tours that comes through here. People staying in the hotels, they're all booked from one year to the next. I got a guy coming from New Zealand in June, so he's staying with me for a few nights, and he's going to see to come from away here. And some of the people that had people with them have got people coming back to their houses for the 25th staying. So I'm sure if somebody reached out, we would find somewhere for them to stay.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, we get somebody, no question. Yeah,
Well, I think I can speak for the cast of our cast of Come From Away. Everybody in our cast seems to understand the job that we are entitled to be performing in. We're into it. We've been
that's right.
researching it. Like
Sure.
we this wasn't just oh, what musical's playing, I'll go out for that. No,
Right.
everybody that's in it seems to really want to be able to tell this story.
Right.
And I'm very, very excited to be able to be a part of that, to be able to do my part in telling your story and what all happened. We're at Oak Grove Theater in Verona, Virginia. It is an outdoor theater. Uh,
Yeah, and I was at one last year in New Brunswick, a outdoor theater.
yeah.
So is there a limit on how many people you can put
I imagine so. I've never actually been to this theater. I'm going on Sunday
there?
for the first time,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that's when I'll get to actually see it. I'm sure
Yeah.
there is a limit, but it's large enough that
Yes.
there's quite a few people can come. But
Yeah. Same thing. The one in New Brunswick. The field was big enough to take almost everybody in New Brunswick.
yeah, so
But I think there was like 400 or 500 people there every show around there. But it
okay.
was it was different outdoors.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it really is in an oak grove. Like there's trees
Yeah.
surrounding it. From what I
Yeah.
understand, there's a tree growing up in the middle of the stage or part of the
Yeah.
stage. There's a tree in
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
pretty unique and it's been around for quite some time, 73
Yeah.
seasons, and they do 5 shows a year throughout
Okay.
the summer
Right.
months. And
So how many shows are you doing there?
so we're going from June 18th through the 24th. So it's
Okay.
6 or 7
6 days.
shows.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
And we're just hoping for good weather.
Yep. And hopefully, yeah. I was talking to a young guy in Detroit. He was in high school, and the high school down there is going to be doing a production of Come From Away.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. He was because I was talking to him because he was going to play me. So we had a great chat. He was only 17 or years old and that, right? I mean, I've been to a lot of places. Normally, when you get the big theaters who's got a big pocketbooks and
Yeah.
they got big sponsors, they'll bring you down because sponsors pays for everything. They'll pay for your flight, they'll pay for your hotel
Right.
and all that. But that's where you got, not every theater got big sponsors.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
know
We're not like that.
that's right. You're not. And
From what I
neither is
gather, we're
yeah,
not.
you take a high school production, they don't have that thing. But the
Yeah.
larger theaters throughout the world, they have the big sponsor where they can go in and get somebody. I know when I went to New Zealand, it was the lady that owned the hotels. That's who sponsored my trip to New Zealand. So,
Yeah.
and she had deep pockets. You know. So anyway, all I can tell you, I wish you well. I know you'll do a good job, and hopefully that you can put a little bit on video after you do it that we can take a look at it.
I would love to.
But even we get a lot of people send us a little bit of show when they're in rehearsal.
Yeah. Yeah. We could absolutely do that.
Okay, rehearsal, not just the actual show, but when they're in rehearsal, they send us a 5 minute clip. Uh, what they're doing.
I would.
Yeah.
We already started creating videos for all the
Okay.
choreography and
Good.
everything. So that
Great.
I'll see what I can do to make that happen. I have your
Not a problem.
contact info now, so I'll stay in touch. Uh,
Sure.
and if I think of more questions, don't be surprised if you see an email pop in from me.
Not a problem. Anytime I'll be around. No question.
Thank you so much, Mayor Elliott. It's
Hey,
been an honor.
it's my pleasure, and I know that you will do a good job. And I wish the cast nothing but the best. And as they say, go break a leg.
That's the plan. Thank you once again.
And thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye now.